Hi everyone, today I'm going to build a bed for a new friend I made at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous here in 2017, Quartzsite, Arizona. So she has a nice newer 2015 Town & Country. She bought it used, so she didn't lose all that depreciation right off the bat. The first owner had put quite a few miles on it, 45,000, so she got a really good deal on it. But it's so simple that she needs a little more comfort, so I'm going to build her a bed. And my goal here is to demonstrate to you how to build a bed for really cheap, really almost next to nothing. This will involve a sheet of plywood, one sheet of 4x8 3/4 inch plywood that I've had home at Ace Hardware in Blythe, California. I'm in my Ehrenberg camp now, and I've had them rip it in half, so it's two 2x4 sheets of 2x8 sheets of plywood, and the bed will be on this side here. And she wants more comfort, so she wants this seat left up, so she has some place to sit. And having some place to sit is really valuable. And so what we'll do is, this leaves a huge, I'll bring you in a little closer, I'm just giving you an overview now. This leaves a huge opening here in the wheel well. So I'll also build her, out of the same sheet of plywood, a stand here so she can open the door and cook in the back and get access to all this storage. With these fold and go seats on these Chryslers, it leaves this huge open area on the bottom, really opening up the storage. And you can see that it leaves a nice flat floor. The back is a little higher, so we'll have to cut the back legs a little shorter, but it's simple carpentry. You cut them a little shorter, and she'll have a nice flat bed and a nice area here at the back to open and cook at, and for storage. So it's going to work out really well. It's going to be super cheap, and I'll tell you about that as we go along. Now this is the back seat. She has it folded down. They're all down. It's a very large open area, and this is one of the things she wants. She wants to have a seat that she can sit in and be comfortable all day. And you can see this is a very comfortable seat. In this van, the back seats are split 60-40. And so this is a large seat, and the 40 seat, which would be in this hole, is too small. She wasn't going to be comfortable in it. So because of that, she's going to put the 60 wide seat here, and the bed will, then she has also moved for her passenger seat far forward. Not all the way forward, but mostly far forward, so that she can get in to there. So the bed will then start here, pretty much up close to the passenger seat, and then come down. And I'm going to have to notch out for the side of the bed. The bed is 2 foot wide, so I'm going to notch out for the side of the seat. It will go around it, and if I need to, I will do a curve so she doesn't have sharp corners that she's banging on. We'll see when we get that far. So I'm looking inside the minivan. She wants a comfortable place to sit, so that's going to sit here, the seat. She's folded up one of the seats, all the others are down, and that's left this large opening area for, this is all going to be storage. It's huge. She's going to be really glad she has that. So, and these are the bins. This is something I suggest everyone do. Design their vans and their beds around the bins that they're going under them. These bins are like 11 inches tall, and so the feet, the legs will be exactly 1 foot. So I'm at the Ace Hardware here, and some of you may have never bought lumber before. Nearly every small town has an Ace or a True Value or a Do It Best hardware store. What you do in most of these are outdoor lumber yards. You go in, you tell them I want a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, AC. You pay them, they give you a receipt. You go to the lumber yard and pick it up. They'll cut it for you right there. So that's where we're going next. It's no big deal. If you've never done it before, don't be intimidated. It's just nothing to it. So I've just done that. I've came out, I bought 3/4 inch AC. Now I'll go pick it up at the lumber yard and have them cut it for me. So let's go do that. So this is the Ace. And then right here, you'll see this gate. this gate has where you drive through. You hand them your receipt. It shows them you've bought a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. He will then direct you over into the yard, where in the yard you can get the plywood. You go over there, show the guy your receipt. He gets the plywood, cuts it to your order, and then you drive away. It really is every bit that simple. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Howdy. Some 3/4 plywood.
You know where to go?
Probably right over there.
Yeah, that awning right there with the red trim faded?
Yep.
Go in the middle right there, and then be second out to your left.
To the right of it, and I go
Second out to your left.
Okay.
From there.
Thank you.
No problem.
So right now there's a guy in front of me, and he's doing exactly what I'm doing. He bought a sheet of OSB. He got it cut exactly in half, and now he's buying half. So I'm going to go do exactly that. So this is the machine they use. It's just a great big saw. They put they slide in the piece of plywood. And the saw itself moves back and forth, up or down. Really simple, really easy. They'll cut it, usually one cut for free, of course. A lot of times they'll cut 2 or 3 or 4. And they may charge you more for the extras, but that'd be unusual. So don't be in any way intimidated by going and buying plywood and having it cut. Simplest thing in the world. They'll load it for you, and simplest thing you can do. So go do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this plywood to length. This is ACX 3/4 inch plywood. The 3/4 won't bend and bow as much. I'll put some legs under it. AC tells you the surface of the plywood. The A side means it is sanded and really pretty, and it won't get splinters on you. The C side, which this is the C side here, is not as pretty, although this is one of the prettier C sides I've ever seen. This is more of a B plus. This would almost be usable as it is. And so the bed's a little long, so I've measured, and now I'm going to do a rip to cut the bed to fit in the length. And she's going to put it behind her passenger seat, which is a little unusual, but you can do it any way you want. And I'll take you inside and show you why. I carry a square, a framer's square with me, and so I just measured inside to see how far it could go, and then used my framer's square, held it tight, drew a line across. I'm using Ryobi power tools. This is the cordless. You can only buy these at Home Depot. I'm a huge fan of Ryobi tools. Cordless power tools, 18 volt. This is their new lithium battery packs. I love these. They're interchangeable with their old ones. There's every reason in the world to buy Ryobi lithium tools, and I'm just a huge fan. That's all I'm buying. Yes, DeWalt is a far superior tool. It's double the price, and it won't last me any longer because I rarely use it. The amount I use it, this will last me as long as any DeWalt will, and it'll cost half the price. So I don't see any reason to buy a DeWalt. So just to show you how easy 3/4 is a little bit harder to get through, but this should get through it no problem. I'm on my regular folding table I always carry, and I've made sure that it's far away. I'm not going to cut into the table. So let me just cut this. Cut through it like butter. I mean, that's 3/4, and that's just not an issue at all. It did a nice cut. Now, the one thing you should be aware of, this is the C side, and you want the C side facing up, because when the blade comes through, it leaves something of a rough edge, and you want this rough edge not to show. So the A side is down, the C side is up, and I've got a rough edge, but no one will ever see it. So I've been steadily cutting up the plywood. I think I've got it ready to go. And so I need to cut legs. You want the bed to be as low as possible underneath, so that you can stand upright without bonking your head. And she has always, I suggest you build beds or anything around plastic you want to put underneath them. The plastic totes. And so her totes are 11 inches tall, so her bed needs to be a foot tall so they can slide in and out. So these legs are set to be a foot. I'm going to cut 4 of them because those 4 can all be 1 foot. And then after that, the legs, the back is taller, and so they'll have to be cut at a different dimensions. But I'll get these 4 put on and then see what the length needs to be in the back ones. I think they might all be different. So now, normally they will not cut a 2x4 for you. I imagine they would if you pushed. I've never done it. It's just so easy to cut a 2x4 that I just cut my own. Again, just a Ryobi skill saw. Something really helps to cut that straight is just a plastic. This is $2, $3, $4 at Walmart, and I always carry one of these. So this kit was $100 for the batteries, the skill saw, and the drill at Home Depot. So I have a minimal investment, and then of course I got a tape measure and things like that. So this piece of this 2x4 was $3.50. The plywood is $40. So I'm gonna have about $44 invested in this bed, leaving me $6 for screws, which I think will be plenty. Okay, so how do you cut a 2x4? Really simple. You've got a notch here, and so you line up the notch, and then you slide that over so that it's lined up with the line. Pull it away. Line the blade up, slide this over to the blade, grab it tight, pull it away. The blade has to be spinning before it hits the wood, or it'll bind. And then and it's got a little notch. It's got this notch, which is 0, and you're just trying to get your line lined up so you see it right in the dead center of that notch. Really simple. Okay, so there's my 4 legs, and we'll see how it lines up and works. So the next thing is I'm going to attach the 4 legs here, and then I'll attach 1, 2, maybe 4 also in back. I've cut these to a foot, 1 foot lengths. That just barely allows her, that gives her about an inch for her totes to go through underneath. That's about what she wants, just for those totes to go underneath. These have the stow and go seats, so I'm having to be careful to place the legs so it's not on the plastic covers. That they seem really weak. She said she's heard them crack before. So I'm working hard to avoid hitting the stow and go seats. I'm going to put a leg here, leg here, leg here, and leg here. Now again, the idea is if the bed were higher, in ways that would be better, but she's going to have like a 6-inch pad, mattress, the bedding, and then when she sits on it, she doesn't want to bonk her head. You know, that gets old really fast, bonking your head. Now I had to notch out for the chair. That was a complication. I had to make several course corrections. This is a more complicated bed. Without the chair, it would have just been a 2-foot piece all the way across. Simple, easy peasy. But the bed made it more, leaving the chair in place made it complicated. I had to notch out. My Ryobi tools, as always, get a drill bit. Nothing to driving a couple of screws into 2x4s. Some people will say, "Oh, Bob, you're wasting so much money and time with 2x4s. Why didn't you use 2x2s?" I don't see any reason. 2x2s cost more. They aren't as strong. It's very difficult to find a solid, straight, not twisted 2x2. I just in every way prefer 2x4s. They cost less. You pay more for a piece of crap wood is the bottom line. So I just will almost never use 2x2s. And The big deal is the weight. You go, oh, you're going to save so much weight. How much weight are you going to save on? I'm going to use the total of 2 2x4s in the whole project. Would I save 5 pounds? Is it worth buying crap wood for more money that will twist and warp more to save 5 pounds? To me, it's not worth any effort. I use 2x4s. Now, on a whole elaborate build, the weight could add up. But on this simple project, absolutely not. No way. I'm using 2 3-inch screws. Another thing, you couldn't get two screws into a 2x2 head. It would split. It's just such crap wood that it will split right away. That's one of the reasons I don't use 2x2s. Also, I use 2x4s. I can get 3-inch heads. You say, "Oh, Bob, that's just overkill." 2-inch, 2.5-inch. Okay, you build your way, and I'll build my way. I like overkill. I like knowing that I'm biting into ingrain, and then it's staying there forever. And I know that with 2 3-inch screws. The secret to building with driving long screws, it's pretty easy on the ingrain. The secret is go drive straight. That's the biggest secret. Put all your body weight into it. That's the big thing. Put your body weight into it. Okay, so that's the front 4 legs. I'll put some 2 and 2. I'm going to put a total of 8 legs on this, which is a little more than I thought I would use, but I want to be sure that it's really well supported and there's no chance of it coming undone. One thing you need to be aware of whenever you're doing construction with legs is that it's real easy for the legs to go this way or this way. These are so short that probably would not be an issue. It's called accordion, so it goes like this, or it can go like this. So what I do is these cost $2, and I'll just put one of these in here, and then it cannot accordion. This is now locked in place. It's an L. It cannot move, and so I'll put these on here. I've already driven. You saw me drive them up from underneath, and I'll put these on, and then when I cut the back legs, because they're always going to have to be cut individually because it's very short back there. It's very uneven floor in this particular van, so it's just one of the things you have to account for. So I always use L brackets, and then I'm absolutely certain the legs cannot shift around under any circumstances. The L brackets won't allow them. And these aren't actually L brackets. These are a shelf bracket. Just you go into any hardware store, Walmart has them. Go and say, I want to buy a shelf bracket, and this is what they'll send you and get. So it holds 3 screws on each one. I'll use the long screw along the leg, and it cannot accordion now. This leg won't be able to move. It's solidly in place. So I'll let you see me drive a couple. And the problem with this is that you can't get anything else but 1-inch screws, which is fine in the leg because it's 1.5 inches. I gotta drive that left-handed, which I'm not good at. It's fine into the leg because the leg is 1.5 inches, so a 1-inch screw is no problem. But it won't be so fine when we go into the 3/4-inch bed. So I just drove the 1-inch. This is the smallest screw I could find. These are 1-inch sheetrock screws. So what I do is, if you drive a 1-inch sheetrock screw through a 3/4-inch piece of plywood, you got a pokey sticking out on the other end. So I use washers, or you can use a washer, but it usually takes a couple, 3. So that's just a nut. This is a box of hex nuts. And I will use a nut, and so that the screw cannot go through it. and it's weird, and it's a waste of money. But it gets the job done, and that's all I care about, is that it gets the job done. And the bed is really secure and cannot go anywhere. The legs are not going to come off. They're not going to bend under the weight. And most important, the screw isn't going to break the surface and be something that scratches you all to pieces. Now you can just use washers, 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch washers, but you have to use a couple 3 washers. So that's really secure. That's not coming off there under any conditions, and I'm satisfied with that. And I'll just drive the rest of them in, and then I'll cut the back legs, and this bed will be done. So the bed is made, and I'm inside now. I'm just sitting inside the driver's rear door. That's the great thing about these vans, is they have the two doors, and so you can come in on either side. And again, because she wanted the wider seat to be available for her to use as her comfort seating, that's why she's done it the way she's done it. Well, let me now swing you around, and I'll show you what made this a whole lot more complicated. And if you have a late model Dodge Chrysler Town & Country minivan, whatever this thing is, you'll run into this too, and I don't know how far back it goes, but I'll show you what I did to compensate for it. So the big thing was, this rear is so much taller. So you get under there. So you can see that that leg back there is 6.5 inches. This leg is 8 inches, and this leg is 12 inches. So the legs had to get shorter and shorter the further back I go, because the tall is, well, then it would be almost 6 inches taller at the very back than it is the front. And the bed, of course, you want the bed to be level. So the bed is pretty darn level, and that it fits up here, these 2 totes that she wanted to fit. And then in the back, now we could have made the whole thing, the front would have been 6 inches higher to get these totes all the way to the very back. And then she'd have been bonking her head. Let me see if I can sit on this bed. Now we don't have the mattress on it, so that's not really a fair test. So I am sitting on the bed with about a fist of room. See, I'm nowhere near hitting my head up there, but we don't have the pad on. Much of a pad would mean that I would hit my head a little bit. But I'm a little taller than the average woman. I'm 5'8". Most women, I think the average woman's 5'4", 5'5", something like that. So a woman, an average height 5'5" or less woman, could sit here, and I also have a tall, long torso, short legs, long torso. So it all depends, a lot depends then on your particular build. But I could sit here, most women will be able to sit here just fine without bonking their head, even with a 4-inch mattress pad, 5-6 inch mattress pad. So that's always one of your considerations. You want to be able to sit on the bed without bonking your head. Now I'll have her put up the side chair, which is what really complicated things. Oh, let me show you a little bit more, and that'll show you how it complicated it with that. So let me do that right now. So I'm looking out the back through the back with the back hatch open. I don't know how you'll be able to see this with the hatch open. With the contrast in light there. So this is what we were after, what she wanted. See, now she has this huge wheel well, seat well, where the seat used to be. Now that's all available storage space. Her feet will come back here to some degree, but she can use this. She can open the back hatch, and I'm going to build her, what I'm going to do next is build her a thing to fit in here so she can have another shelf. So here's the key thing that she was after. She can now sit in this chair and have her bed. So I had to notch out for the chair. You can see that the bed goes back and then I've notched around so that she can sit in the chair. So I'm sitting in the chair, and I got plenty of headroom above my head. This is very comfortable. The bed will be right here beside me. Oh yeah, see, I could get in the habit of taking my shoes off, having clean socks, putting my my feet up on the bed. Lots of open space. If it were me, I would now build well, I'd put plastic bins. I'd put plastic bins behind that seat, and then probably bungee cord them to the seat. Of course, code has to check out everything, but that's a big open area. You can see here in front of me where I'm sitting. This will be very comfortable. So this is going to work really well for her. And it took some extra complication. It was I had to cut around the seat and the real difference in the floor. I mean, the 6-inch difference in the height of the floor from the rear to the back, and slanting. So the front legs are 12-inch, the back legs are 6, the middle are 8. You know, I'm not much of a carpenter, but I can make those kind of adjustments. Hi folks, so we're going to finish up the build here at the back of this Chrysler 2015 Chrysler minivan. We've built a bed on this side, and she slept in it last night and was very pleased with it. And so now we're going to build a platform here to cook on. I've cut the piece of plywood for it. It will sit right in here, and I'll build legs so that she can get things in and out. She has a deep well here. On the Chryslers, the Dodge Chryslers minivans, this folding seat folds down into this deep well. Well, when the seat is up, there's a huge open well there. You don't want to lose that for storage. I had a friend who bought one of these in the cargo van variety, and all the wells were empty because there were, a cargo van doesn't come with any passenger seats. So they were just all empty, and they had a nice folding cover over them. So if you can find one of these with the cargo version, then you get all this space and you don't have to contend with the seats at all. I was very, very impressed. It had some of the most storage I've ever seen on a minivan. So if you can find a cargo version of these, you'll be really glad you did. So we'll just cut lengths. I'll show you the details as I'm doing it. I don't even know exactly how I'm going to do it. We'll cut the legs to the height that she wants. And we'll set this in here, probably right about that height. That way she can get in and out into the well for storage and have this to cook on. And on this side, originally I had planned to put this shelf to go all the way across, but she decided she would rather find a plastic tote drawer unit that would fit in this unit and make good use of that space. So she's going to put a plastic drawer unit there instead. But this has worked really, really well so far. It's been very simple. I have used one sheet of plywood, which cost $40. It was a nice AC. I hope you can get a pretty good view. That's a nice sanded piece of wood. You could stain this, polyurethane it, and it would be really, really pretty and last forever. The other side isn't quite as pretty, but it still isn't bad. But this is a really nice piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Will last a very, very long time. Treated for the sun. And so I spent $40 for the plywood, and I bought 3 2x4s. So I have cut my 4 legs to 26.5 inches, and they will sit down inside of this well, and the plywood will rest on top of it. So what I'm going to do next is screw down into the 2x4s and get the legs attached. Then I will do the braces, which are nothing but shelf brackets, after that. So this is awkward when you're working alone. You got to hold the shelf in place while you screw. And if you're working alone, this becomes quite substantially more complicated. So that's what it's going to look like. And I happen to have I'm using 3-inch sheetrock metal sheetrock screws. That's what I like to use. Pretty simple. I mean, this is just a pretty straightforward process here. So this is what it looks like. It looks just like that. See, I've screwed in from the bottom with two 3-inch sheetrock screws into each one, and it just drops in here and sits just like that. Very solid there. The door will close. And the door will close just fine. And she's got a work surface here, and she'll have a plastic tote of some kind right here. About as best I can do for her. I could put another shelf down here, but then that would make it really hard to get stuff in and out, so that wouldn't do. I think this will work just fairly fine. In fact, this cannot move. I don't even think I'm going to bother with anything with the shelf brackets. I would put these shelf brackets under here so that it could not possibly move at all, but right now I just don't think that could possibly shift in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to call that completely done. So that's it. Just a little shelf here, lots of storage space underneath. She has a plastic tote that fits in there just perfectly and creates a bottom shelf here, and so she can put more stuff. She can completely fill and use this whole space, no problem. The bed, she said, worked extremely well for her. She has all this extra space to make use of now, and so I think that'll work really well. So there's just an easy, simple build, less than 60-70 bucks. All you got to do is be able to cut wood with a saw and drive screws, do some easy, simple measuring, and this was a very, very simple project, and yet it'll make her livability here much, much higher. Okay, I think that's it. I'll move on to my next video. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and if you have and you like the message that I'm giving, that there's another simple way to live, and no matter what your circumstances, you can have your best possible life right now. That's my message, that right now you can have your best possible life. So no matter your economic situation, it's available to you. So if you like that message, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel, like us on YouTube, and share us on your social media with all your friends. So until next time, we'll visit with you later.